Thursday, May 4th, the day that horse racing nearly broke Twitter. Salutations and welcome, friends, to a very special edition and breaking news edition of Trust the Prophets. My name is Matthew DeSantis. I'm joined by El Hombre, and we are coming to you because there has been a flurry of news that has taken place on Thursday, May 4th, as it relates to the Kentucky Derby. It has been a jam-packed day. Literally, all of our phones have been blowing up all day, interacting with each other, sharing rumors, sharing confirmations of stories from 7 a.m. until about 2 minutes before we started recording this. There is breaking news going on all day. El Hombre, what are your thoughts on this absolutely crazy day?
What the hell is going on out here? You know, some of us have real jobs, some of us have kids, some of us have other responsibilities. And all I know, horse racing Twitter, doing horse racing Twitter things, it's been a wild ride. I mean, if we listen to everything on there today, there wouldn't be a Derby this weekend.
If we listen to everything on there, there'd be 6 horses in the Derby by Saturday. But
true story.
Let's actually go through the timeline, because there has legitimately been like 5 to 6 serious news stories that have developed over the course of the last 12 hours. So listen, we're going to start off with this morning and the news that I saw when I checked Twitter the first time, that both Verifying and Kentucky Oaks contender and Tell Me No Lies both managed to get loose on the track. Never something you want to see. Both very scary videos in terms of both of them dumping their exercise riders, both of them getting loose. El Hombre, your thoughts on these horses trying to break free and not even try to get to Saturday?
The absolute most normal thing that happened today. I mean, if you remember, was it Midnight Bourbon last year?
Yeah,
ran around
2 years ago. Yeah,
barn area, wherever that was. It was wild. Yeah, man, this is this. You thought it was a weird story this morning. I mean, it does happen from time to time, but to have 2 big contenders in big races like this get loose, weird, but then it got weirder from there. Look at the timeline, by the way.
It did get weird.
Apart. It's wild. This is
minutes apart. A lot of people think that and Tell Me No Lies was actually set off by the fact that there was so much commotion about Verifying getting loose, so they actually think the 2 were connected to each other in that regard. So then at 10:27 a.m., Emily Gullickson, who I follow on Twitter and does a lot with optics, plots and which is a really great horse racing service. But Emily tweeted out a video of Forte taking a misstep on the track this morning during morning workouts, just a typical little trot gallop. And you see that Forte took a legit misstep. And this fired off Twitter something fierce, because it looked at A, Forte taking a misstep, but B, all of the speculation and all of the stories about the fact that Churchill Downs has a problem on their hands and that this track is not up to snuff right now. And this is just another example of it. That really blew the internet up.
Yeah, I got news for you guys. If this gets any worse this weekend than what's already happened this week, which is already tragedy all over the place, you know, it's been bad, real bad for the sport, real bad for the casual viewer, and real bad for everybody. But if it gets any worse this weekend, this is going to be a huge black eye for the sport. I mean, something's got to be done. I don't know. I'm not smart enough to know what's to blame. I don't think anybody really knows for sure yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just not good leading into the weekend here.
Not good at all. And I mean, there's been 5 horse deaths in the last week at Churchill Downs. This is not good news, people.
Not acceptable.
This is not acceptable and not good in any way, shape, or form. So then about an hour later, the actual video of Tell Me No Lies getting loose is posted and absolutely breaks Twitter. People, I mean, I retweeted the video and people are retweeting my retweet of the video. I mean, people are going nuts over this thing, because you realize and Tell Me No Lies isn't just loose on the track. And Tell Me No Lies gets loose in the barn and is just running frantically between people in a really scary way. Thank God she's okay. But that was, I don't know if you had a chance to actually watch that video, El Hombre, but that was some crazy shit.
Yeah, well, good thing these aren't $1 million horses, or, you know, you know what I'm saying? Like, unbelievable. Like, how does it happen?
Yeah.
Well, you know, we're only halfway through the timeline today. This is all today, by the way. And
yeah, all today.
Unbelievable.
All today. So then we actually get to lunch. We had a nice turkey sandwich. Then
By
we
the way,
actually get to
I was trying to eat a burger there at 11:36 a.m. Or whatever I was trying to eat, and all this shit's going on. It's just a wild ride, babe.
wild ride. Then at 1:10 p.m., we get our first real confirmation of a story that Practical Move, the Tim Yak horse, has spiked a fever and is officially scratched from the Kentucky Derby, and therefore Cyclone Mischief, the Dale Romans horse, draws in El Hombre. I know you've done a lot of homework on Cyclone Mischief. I actually know you like Cyclone Mischief a little
Yeah.
bit. So this was a pretty crazy story and very unexpected, obviously.
Yeah, I actually give Cyclone Mischief a better shot than I gave Practical Move. I don't think Cyclone Mischief's going to win the Derby, but I think it adds a new element. I mean, I think Practical Move was a toss for me, and no disrespect to anybody involved, but didn't really affect my my view of the race at all. But it sucks. I mean, that's unfortunate for Yak and the horse and all the connections. But yeah, Cyclone Mischief is the benefactor.
Yeah, so he's it. So now we think, oh, okay, we got a rich strike type of story. We got an also eligible in. Oh, wait, 3 hours later, the news comes out that Churchill Downs has officially scratched all of Saffie Joseph Jr.'s horses for the entire weekend, including Kentucky Derby starter Lord Miles. Therefore, he's out. And now the Land of the Rising Sun gets a third horse into the race. Mandarin Hero draws in. People are losing their minds over this one.
Oh yeah, there's explosions going on all over Twitter. I mean, it's just wild. I can't even honestly. I had to tune out. I haven't looked at Twitter in 3 hours because it just makes me puke. But
you've missed out on so much.
I'll catch up when I die eventually. But Mandarin Hero is interesting. I think Mandarin Hero is way better than Continue are. So that drawing in again, and Lord Miles had none of my interest either. So I think both of the horses that draw in today so far in our timeline are actually upgrades.
I would agree with you. Mandarin Hero finished second in the Santa Anita Derby on a very speed favoring track, showed really the ability to close into that track anyway. Very impressive effort there, finishing just second by a nose to Practical Move. So definitely like Mandarin Hero a lot in this spot. Could be a big price, although seems like already a little bit of a wise guy horse. But not to be outdone, literally 12 minutes later, rumors start to circulate that Forte will be scratched. And this was, we were getting this from a lot of different people. There were people DMing me about this. There were people posting on Twitter. There were people sending me screenshots of text messages with conflicting reports. We had people saying, yes, the horse is fine. We had people saying, no, they're literally writing the press release for the scratch. It was absolutely crazy between about 4:30, 4:40, and 5:30. It just felt like I was getting a barrage with messages on social media and conflicting reports about Forte.
Yeah, and we're talking about the Derby favorite here, guys. This is not this isn't a not to disrespect anybody else's view, but this is the favorite. This is big news, and I guess Matt, I think you know a little more detail on this.
Yeah,
but it sounds like it's still a possibility that Forte's got a little bit of an issue, but I really hope not. He's been a class horse, and I think it'll take away from the storylines and the Derby itself if he doesn't run. But obviously, we got to look out for the best interest of the horse if there is a health issue there.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's, this all kind of goes back to this misstep that was taken. And, there's a lot of, I think, pretty confirmed reports at this point that the Pletcher team is trying a lot to keep the swelling down on the horse's front leg. And if they're able to do that, I think everything might be okay. But we're going to get to some more speculation on that in a second. Because guess what? 18 minutes later, or 21 minutes later, I should say, Churchill Downs releases an official statement saying that they are indefinitely suspending Saffie Joseph Jr. from entering horses in all of their tracks. So not just Churchill Downs, but Fairgrounds, Colonial, all CDI-owned tracks. They're absolutely indefinitely suspending Saffie because of potential drug violations and, safety issues. Wild, wild stuff.
Well, you can't have horses dying all over the place. I mean, it's a bad week. Black eyes all over the sport. This is what Baffer got involved with at Santa Anita. This is why he's kind of got the black eye and has had it for quite some time. Saffie's now moved into that category, which is unfortunate. But man, something's got to be done. We can't have, if horses continue to die at a rate like this.
Yeah.
I mean, my wife even said something today. She's like, 4 horses died at Churchill this week. I'm like, yeah, we're aware here. But it's,
yeah,
kind of, I mean, if somebody she doesn't care anything about horse racing at all, and she's finding out about it, that is not a good look for the sport. This will kill our sport if it keeps going.
Yeah.
I agree with the suspension until they figure out what's going on.
Yeah, and just to be clear, Saffie issued a statement about an hour ago pushing back on this, saying Churchill Downs is just trying to save face, basically, and Churchill Downs is trying to use me as a scapegoat because they've had 3 other horses die this week, and they don't want to talk about those 3 other horses. They just want to talk about my 2. Wild. Then
I'm not going to butcher Safi personally either, because again, we don't know anything yet.
We don't. These are all kind of unconfirmed reports. I mean, that's official that CDI has indefinitely suspended him. But I mean, all this stuff is still, the necropsy is not back, things like that. 5:38 p.m. Never a dull moment. Reports then emerge that the decision on Forte scratching will be made in the morning. So this is the latest news we have on the morning line favorite for the Kentucky Derby, Forte, that they are going to try to get the swelling down overnight, that the decision is going to be made in the morning about whether or not he stays or is scratched from the race. Depending on who you listen to, sounds like a 65-35 leaning towards scratching at this point. We'll have to just wait and see.
Well, they're not going to take a chance. This horse is obviously a champion, and is worth too much money. And with all the other deaths going on, and they can't take a risk if there's any type of risk to his health. No. I mean, I'm sure they'll do the right thing.
Yeah, I mean, Todd Pletcher,
unfortunate. The biggest name in the event, going out would suck for real.
Yeah, Todd Pletcher, Rapoli, they'll do the right thing by the horse, for sure. But this is extremely unfortunate. And then, just a little bit before we started recording, unofficial reports that Continuar will scratch this evening. Now, if that happens, El Hombre, King Russell, draws into the race. And then guess what? We're out of also eligibles. So if anybody else scratches, the field just gets smaller because we're out of other horses. We just can't go down the road and get Red Route 1 and Instant Coffee. So, it is a wild situation.
Yeah, I'm getting the feeling it's not going to be a 20-horse field, and that's fine if the horses aren't capable of doing it in a healthy way. But yeah, this is just crazy, man. I haven't seen anything like this in a long time where there's 75 rumors, and I think it just more speaks to like Twitter, the Twitterverse and such. But a lot of these are true. They did come true. I hope the Forte one is, I hope he doesn't have to scratch. But man, unfortunate week for horse racing at Churchill so far. Hopefully they keep it clean through the weekend, or else it's not going to be a good week.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, now we're at a point where we look back at what happened with Verifying and Tell Me No Lies and nearly chuckle at it because it seems so innocent and funny compared to the really serious stuff that we got later in the day, which was really heavy news. And I'll be honest, what's not even up there is there are other horses, and I don't want to make this public because they might not end up scratching or anything, but there's 2 or 3 other horses that I've heard from different people are going to scratch. And I mean, none of that I feel good enough to confirm, but there's other names floating out there of horses that are going to scratch. So yeah, this is not going to be a 20-horse field, I don't think, by any stretch. But we got King Russell, we got Mandarin Hero, and suddenly we got Cyclone Mischief in this Kentucky Derby. Wild stuff. El Hombre, you just clear out your work schedule tomorrow. You better tell the wife and kids not to do anything because you just have to focus on Twitter.
Yeah. Not Twitter. I'm focusing on handicapping these 2 races because, unfortunately, with all these stories, you can kind of take your handicapping that you've done so far this week and tear it up and throw it in the garbage because it's a totally different situation in the big ones, at least.
Well, it's wild, but listen, we got you covered here for everything you need to know about the Kentucky Derby, the Kentucky Oaks, capping the card, doubling down, El Hombre's $100 bets. We got you covered, and guess what? None of our picks have scratched to this point, so fingers crossed that keeps up. So, for El Hombre, I'm Matthew DeSantis. Until next time, friends, remember that it's now post time.